Call the March 8th, 2018 meeting to order. First item of business is the approval of the minutes from the February 22nd meeting. Any changes? Stand as written. This is a time for citizen comments on non-agenda items. If anybody has any comments on something that's not on the agenda, seeing none, move on to employee promotions and new hires.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Gary Brown, the Fire Chief. With me tonight is Eric Lindquist. The City Manager just recently appointed Eric as a member of the Fire Department. He started with us on February 5th. He previously was of Fort Collins, Colorado, and moved here to Hayes. He's a graduate of Colorado State University, where he has a BS in Biological Sciences. He served with the Wellington, Colorado Fire Protection District since 2014, both as a career and both as a volunteer firefighter and as a career firefighter. And during that service, he got the basic firefighter certification. He's also an EMT. Prior to his assignment on B shift with Captain Klein, he went through a 1-week orientation where we kind of taught him the Hayes way of doing business. And he went through 2 weeks of driver training. So now he's serving on B shift, and we've been particularly busy during his first days of service. But anyway, Eric Lindquist.
Welcome, Eric.
Welcome.
Thank
I'm so glad to have
you
you.
here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
And I hope that you stayed busy the last few days. I'm sure everybody did. Thank you, Chief, for everything that you guys did.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. And
Thank-
Rural Fire as well.
Yeah, thank you
guys
very much.
performed very admirably.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jeff Boyle, Director of Parks. With me tonight is Jared Adams, our newest hire. He started on February 19th. Very happy to have Jared with us. He's an excellent worker, has an extensive background in operating in various equipment, so we're really looking forward to having Jared on our crew, and so far he's been an asset to our department. Very fortunate.
Great.
Welcome,
Glad to have you,
Jared.
Glad to hear that glowing review. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Don Steskel, Service Division Superintendent. We've got 3 employees with me. Our newest hire, Dakota Zimmerman, which is right here. He started February 15th, and within the past few weeks, Dakota's shown his construction background and is a great fit for the team. Welcome aboard, Dakota. Next, I'd like to recognize 2 Service Division employees. Both have been promoted from Maintenance 2 to Equipment Operators. Mike Bliss, down on the end, Mike was hired as a Maintenance 1, and in March of 2015, Chuck Dinas, over here to my left, was hired as a Maintenance 1 in April of 2014. Both employees have met the qualifications of an Equipment Operator and have proven to be a good asset to the organization.
Great.
Congratulations.
Welcome, and thank you for stepping up and everything that you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah. That's it.
Should be
Okay. Next item is the consent agenda. There's 3 appointments that will need approval today.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Schwaller, second by Commissioner Musil. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Passes 5-0. Next item is the Fort Hayes Golf Course mower purchase.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jeff Boyle, Director of Parks. Here tonight to visit with you about the recommendation to purchase 2 new fairway mowers. This is a picture of one of the 2 fairway mowers that we currently use. These are both the mowers are 2009 models. They're on an 8-year replacement schedule. They were originally due in 2017, but we ran them 1 extra year, so we got an extra year out of them. This is the second mower. It's also a 2009. Both of them have roughly 3,000. As we discussed at the work session last week, we had to change the gauges on them. So when I say roughly, we guessed the best we could with where we were on fuel logs when they were replaced. Both these mowers, they still start and run good, but they are down on power and the reel speeds have diminished. So what we're finding is a lot of grass stripping going on. And then on some of the fairways, like number 17 is uphill. The mowers are bogging down real bad on those uphill fairways. So we were going to try and get another year out of them, but I think it's time to replace them. They're just not functioning properly. And these particular mowers, what they do is they mow the fairways. If you're a golfer, you know what the fairway is, or are supposed to. When you hit the ball.
It's the part that you never get to play in.
I did not look at the city manager when I said that.
Well, we did.
These mowers do mow 25 acres 3 to 4 times a week, just depending on the time of the year. In late May and the first part of June, it's typically 3 to 4 times a week. As we get into July and August, probably 3 times a week. This is a picture of the requested units to buy. These are LF 550 models. In the 2018 budget, we have $116,000 budgeted to purchase these 2 mowers. The low bid was from Kansas Golf and Turf for an amount of $96,276, and I will tell you that does include the trade-in of the 2 mowers. The trade-in value is $7,000 for both mowers, and we think that's a good price because of just some of the research we've done on the golf course sites that actually sell the mowers. So we think that's a fair price, and it's also $19,724 below budget. So we are recommending the purchase of these 2 mowers for the golf course. Any questions?
I move we approve the low bid from Kansas Golf and Turf for 2 Jacobson LF 550 fairway mowers, including trade-in for the amount of $96,276 from the new equipment reserve budget.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Jacobs, seconded by Commissioner Dinkle. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next item is the cemetery mower purchase.
This is a 2008 Walker mower that we currently use at the cemetery. We actually have 2 Walker mowers. This is the oldest one. These are on 10-year replacement schedules. It's used mainly at Mount Allen Cemetery and Memorial Garden Cemetery. This mower does have, both mowers operate various attachments. We have snow blowers, brooms, rough debris mowing decks, and we also have 2 cabs that'll fit these mowers as well. So when we're out snow removing, we put the cabs on. Like I said here, the mower is also used for snow removal on all of our city-owned property, the sidewalks that are along adjacent to city-owned property. So it definitely goes out in the wintertime and gets used a lot. There's $20,000 budgeted for this mower. The low bid came in at $18,275. That is $1,725 under budget. We would like to keep this mower to use at the Bickel-Schmidt Sports Complex. We talked a little bit last week at the work session about the fact that we put the broom on it and used it for removing dirt from our grass lips at the complex. It worked extremely well. The mower does have a few issues. We had quite a few engine issues last year. We seem to have those under control, although it is still underpowered. The second thing is the hydrostats aren't quite functional. If you're going really slow, you can get by, but to try and actually mow with this mower, really it no longer works for that purpose. So we would like to keep this unit. I think that the value of the unit is very low, and it serves a huge purpose for us at the complex. So we are asking the commission to let us keep this mower and use it with the broom for that purpose.
And just to clarify, this wouldn't be added to the replacement schedule then. When it dies, it goes away. Theoretically, we could move the other mower when it is
Right.
time to trade, and we can move it out there. We do that with pickups for our seasonals. When it's time to replace a pickup, seasonals drive them around until the wheels fall off, and then they get sold at auction.
In a manner of speaking.
This is a picture of the recommended mower. It's a different model number, but it's an identical mower to what we have. So all of our cabs, our snow blower attachments, brooms, everything we have will fit on this mower. And they've been really good mowers for us. The one that we're requesting to get rid of tonight has been one of the worst, to be quite honest with you. But it's still functioning and still serves a purpose at the complex, we believe. So we'd like to continue on with this brand. And so for tonight, we're asking them to approve that purchase of that new Walker mower for $18,275.
Mr. Chairman, I do move that we approve the low bid from Pro Green Total Lawn Care Incorporated, amount of $18,275 for a new 2018 Walker D21D mower from the new equipment reserve budget.
Second.
Go ahead.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Schwaller, seconded by Commissioner Musil. Any discussion?
You know, there's one thing that we do in the city that we don't get a lot of feedback, negative or positive, and that is caring for the cemeteries, Mount Allen, and then the one out west, Fort Hays Memorial Gardens, which we did used to get a lot of comments. This mower is actually, the old one is shot, and you could just see it when it's in operation. You can see it was there. But we were very lucky to have excellent groundkeepers that really care about Mount Allen. And I know that when I go there Memorial Day to decorate the graves, it's going to look fantastic. And so, Jeff, I want to thank you and your staff for doing an excellent job at Mount Allen.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I'll pass that on.
Thank you.
Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next item is the 41st Street Improvements Design Agreement.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm John Brown. I'm the project manager for the City of Hayes, and I'm here to present to you design proposals for improvements to East 41st Street adjacent to Vineyard Park. The Home Depot development utilized the Transportation Development District to fund improvements that were associated with the Home Depot development back in 2004. The TDD is funded with an additional 3/4 cent sales tax imposed within the boundaries of the district as shown here on the slide. The TDD did allow for Phase 2 improvements if the revenue collected in the district exceeded that needed amount to cover the initial improvement costs. And based upon actual tax collections, staff estimates that revenue will be generated to support about $1.5 million worth of Phase 2 projects. The potential Phase 2 projects are shown here, which would have been the extension of 43rd Street, the extension of 41st Street, or or construction of Indian Trail to connect the two. In December, the Commission directed staff to solicit proposals for engineering services related to the extension of 41st Street to the east boundary of Vineyard Park Nature Area. The scope of that project would include building a stormwater structure or bridge at the Chitola Creek crossing. It would involve concrete paving of the roadway to like a Commerce Parkway type section, 2 lanes, shoulders, ditches, and then it would also include extension of a water main along the extents of the project. Improvements to this section of 41st Street had already been designed back in 2007 as part of a larger KDOT Economic Development Grant project. That project was canceled prior to going out to bid by the City Commission at the time because they did not want to add to the debt burden. Since that project did not include water line and some things have changed out there, it is necessary to hire an engineer to update the design and put together bid plans to go out to bid. So we solicited proposals from engineering firms to do that design work, and we received proposals from five firms. The 5 firms listed up here with the lowest cost proposal submitted by Driggs Design Group of Hayes. The schedule proposed by Driggs Design Group calls for a project ready to bid this fall for construction through the winter or the spring of 2019 as weather allows. Inspection of the project would be done in-house. This project is not listed in the current capital improvement program. However, staff's initial estimate of cost for the proposed improvements is about $1.28 million. A better estimate of the project cost would be refined as the project moves through the design phase. The $19,778 cost of engineering would be funded out of the TDD sales tax fund. So the Commission has the options of authorizing the city manager to enter into the agreement with Driggs Design Group or directing staff otherwise or do nothing. The action requested is shown on the screen.
Mr. Chairman, I move we authorize the city manager to enter an agreement with Driggs Design Group in the amount of $19,778 for engineering services related to the design or improvement of East 41st Street adjacent to Vineyard Park, be funded from the Transportation Development District Sales Tax Fund, Home Depot.
I have a question for the city manager. I know we're using this.
I'll
I'm
second the
sorry.
purpose of
I'm
discussion.
sorry.
It's okay.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Schwaller, seconded by Commissioner Jacobs, and, sorry, question?
Sorry, Mayor.
That's all right.
On the TDD, I mean, with us extending this street, does this allow for future development? I mean, it's in place, the TDD is in place, so it allows, I mean, how does this help future development, I guess?
Well, John, can you go back to your visual showing the overview of the area? Okay, so right now, the road is unimproved from the eastern border of Home Depot, essentially where the Lukey property's at, through Vineyard Road Park. And so what it would do, right now, we don't have any proposed development to the east.
Right.
But if there is proposed development to the east, one of the things that any developer would have to do would be to drag infrastructure, not just to, but through their property. That's per the city commission's development policy.
Right.
Given that a large portion of that goes by the city, it wouldn't be unreasonable for a developer to come to the city and say, would you want to kick in your share for the cost of the infrastructure that goes by Vineyard Road Park? Commission would not have to honor that request, but it would be a logical request. So how it would facilitate it would be to cut down on some of the future cost of development on the other side of the road.
So when we were negotiating, or rather the city manager at the time was negotiating with the developer for Home Depot, in the original memorandum of understanding, one of the very few things we were able to get concession on was the extension of this TDD. So we planned on this many years ago, and the goal was to do the roads that Mr. Brown pointed out, but ultimately to connect 41st Street from Vine to Commerce Parkway, because we know that any future development is going to happen to the north and to the east. And this is a really great mechanism to do that. Simultaneously, as Mr. Brown pointed out, we also tried to work with the Kansas Department of Transportation for a grant twice. They weren't really enamored with the project for whatever reason, and now today they don't have any money, so that's out of the question. I'm excited that we have enough revenue to get this along. I see that land, particularly to the east and the north, as being ripe for development for new housing, perhaps for new commercial property as well. And I think it will tie in with what probably will happen in Commerce Parkway and have access to this other land. It's now really kind of landlocked. No one wants to drive down a gravel, unimproved road. They do it, but, you know, I think this could be really big.
Could I clarify something based on some comments? Could you go back one more? I'm sorry. That one.
There.
You see the blue line, that's the district.
Right.
The district won't change.
Right.
Extending 41st out and developing property out there won't contribute to the TDD. So new development to the east of that
Oh, I
won't be
see.
contributing to the
Oh, I
TDD.
never thought it would,
I didn't
no.
either.
But
Okay.
this is gonna.
That will
pay
continue.
for that
It will
extension.
continue.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, all we're
concur.
taking into account is development within the district and future revenues.
Right.
And that continues to grow.
Yep.
I concur with Commissioner Schwaller. I think that is just right for housing development out there, and this is a great first step to get some things going and shows we're really interested in that area developing. I know there's going to be some challenges, but I think it's going to be great.
I'll be voting against it. In my opinion, this is something that probably should just go away. It's not something that I'm really think is necessary to the function of the city. I can understand all of the arguments that are being made, but in my mind, what this is doing is pretty much directly in contradiction to the discussions that we've been having about infill, and especially the discussions we've been having about land prices. And I think the idea of extending infrastructure and then that somehow is going to open up development is kind of a fallacy, because we've seen that with all of the infrastructure and the roads and everything we put up on North Vine. I think we've seen it on Commerce Parkway. I think we've seen it in a lot of parts of the city. So for me, that's not a reason to go ahead and do this. I think in my mind that if you were to go out and to ask the average person, do you want to continue paying 0.75% sales tax to extend this street to a park that, to my knowledge, nobody has asked us to pave this road to the park so that they can get to the park. At least I know several people who go out there, and not once have they said, you know, we'd really like to go out there more often, but I really just don't want to drive on the gravel road. I don't think that those are conversations that are really happening. I think if you talk to the average citizen, nobody really cares whether or not we pave this road. I think it functions just fine for what its intended purpose is. I also am not crazy about the idea of extending and putting in an infrastructure and having it paid for from a district that the infrastructure and everything we're doing isn't even within inside the district that's going to be paying for it. You know, the other part of this that kind of concerns me is we have an opportunity to get rid of a 0.75% sales tax on a place where, you know, whether that's right or wrong, I mean, this is their choice. There's a lot of people who are doing either home improvement or new construction from a store that's within that district, and 0.75% means a lot of money. I mean, probably doesn't mean that much when you're going to buy $5 at Walmart, but when you go spend $40,000 to remodel your kitchen, 0.75% means a lot of money. And we have an opportunity here to get rid of that and to improve the ability for people to do what they want to do with their own homes, or if they want to build a new home. The other thing that I would point out is that if that 0.75% sales tax goes away, perhaps that makes those empty lots who are already in that district more developable. Maybe that makes those empty lots more likely to bring in some type of retail development that's actually going to pay us sales tax now versus something that might develop 20, 30 years from now. You know, my understanding, and I wasn't here and I haven't read the minutes or investigated it, but my understanding from what was told to me by city staff is that yes, that the grant was awarded by KDOT, that the city did have the money to go ahead and make this extension, and they made a purposeful decision not to do it, and it was partly due to they didn't want to put the city into more bonded debt, but the other part of it was just the realization of why are we building a street to essentially nowhere that then we have to upkeep in the future, and we're going to go into debt to do it. My opinion is they were right then. I'm going to be voting against this. In my opinion, voting for this isn't really voting for a design contract. In my opinion, you're voting for a tax increase, and I'm not going to be voting for a tax increase. Any other discussion?
Is there any indication that by extending this road out that we're going to increase the value of the land across the road from the park? Similar to the situation that we've run into with Commerce Parkway or other places that we've developed prior to having development ready
Makes
to
it
go.
more attractive. I mean, we can't prove it, but I'm sure,
Yeah.
you know, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a way to, you
Tie
just
that.
have to look at history.
I don't think the assessed value increases,
No.
Yeah,
but
no.
the asking price increases.
It could.
You know, I guess my thing is, I don't really absolutely disagree with Mayor what you're saying. I guess my thing is, I really believe in the next, I don't think it's gonna be 20, 30 years before we are developing out there. I really think that we're gonna have some, it could be within the next 5 years, and I don't think it's a tax increase, it's a continuation of a tax, but you could look at it either way.
You can look at it either way. I
Right.
guess I look at it as if that wasn't already in place, if we had to go to the public and say, we want to extend the road and infrastructure to the park, and we want you to agree to pay a 0.75% sales tax on these businesses in order to fund it, I think I know how that would go.
I think that there's the prospect of some things happening out in that area, in the park area, that's not going to cost the city any money and will enhance it, coming out of the Heartland Community Foundation, Dane G. Hansen, work they're doing with strategic doing. I'm not guaranteed of that. I don't know for sure it is, but they're certainly looking at it. And I know there is interest in some development, so I'll be voting yes.
Also, if you don't want to pay the sales tax, don't shop there. We've said that since the beginning, and people do shop at other places, and they have no problem buying $40,000 worth of building material and not paying it. The challenge is, and we're trying to deal with it, Mr. Brown's trying to help, is getting access to 41st Street, getting on and off that road. You know, the Kansas Department of Transportation, before this happened, was going to eliminate that completely. There'd be no access to Vine Street. And I fought through the legislature to have that road opened that gave it value. And if the commission and I did not fight for that, we wouldn't even be having this discussion because there would be no Home Depot there. Connecting it to Commerce Parkway now gives us an excellent link from one to the other that allows for further development.
I
And
agree.
that's why I'm excited about it.
I agree.
That there I absolutely agree with. But I think good
Any
point.
other discussion? No? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. Passes 4-1. Commissioner Dinkle, do you have anything for us tonight?
I don't think so.
I think you said it very well in thanking first responders earlier, Mayor. I think that we saw some things happen in this community this week that shows who we are and how we work and working together on things. I think the other piece that we missed a little bit is all of the private citizens that jumped in to help, bringing supplies, water, snacks, and so forth out to the site and to the Emergency Management Center. So I think this community should be very, very proud of our first responders and the things that got done, but they also should be very proud of themselves for jumping in and helping out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And, I've talked to a few of the firefighters and, that's what they do. I mean, that's what we expect of them, but just the passion of, taking care of their community, the county, the city. And, and you drive out there on the interstate and see how close that really was to us. That was a little scary because I got really close. If that would have been a little bit further to the west, we could have had something really bad going on. But, thank God those guys did a great job and very much appreciated.
James, it's been only 2 months, but I want to thank you for doing a good job of running the meetings very efficiently. And it's very difficult being mayor because you have to listen to all of us down here and move the meeting forward and also bring ideas to the table. And last week, you brought a very interesting idea to the meeting about a roundabout. I mean interesting in a good way, a test case, which with some of us disagreed with you. But during that discussion, and you were trying to participate, a couple of us were having a conversation, not to thwart anything, but it is very disruptive when other commissioners are talking and it's hard to move the meeting forward. And for that, I apologize. It was not my design to be difficult, because I know what it's like in that role. But I want to thank you, A, for bringing the idea forward. It was worth discussing. And B, for tolerating that sidebar discussion, which will not happen again. So thank you very much.
And Mayor, if I could add to that, what you said, I was part of that, and I didn't realize the way it was going on, but, one thing since I've been on this commission, I've dealt with a lot of different commissioners, is the respect factor. And, a lot of us disagree, but you can't disrespect the others because that's just part of what we do and stuff. So if I, offended or whatever, that won't happen again because I respect, like you said, the way you run meetings, and I do apologize if I acted in a way that shouldn't have.
No, I believe you're
Thank
both
you.
sincere. Thank you. Yeah, I also wanted to, the firefighters, I mean, if nobody, not that I'm encouraging people to do it now, but I did drive up by 27th Street and then went north on Canterbury to look at the water tower. I just kind of wanted to see where, it is amazing, that line, that burn line. I mean, just right down the ditch and then just right in behind. I'm not sure who lives in that house the furthest east on 27th before you go up and over the overpass, but I mean, just right in.
Right there.
I just think that we were, it could have been a very bad situation. I mean, we could have lost multiple homes there. It could have been very bad. And I mean, it even jumped 27th and got into those container ships. It was, that's pretty close to the hospital. I don't know how we have a lot of fire procedures in the hospital. It's fire that begins in the hospital. We don't have a lot of discussion about the
They're
fire
coming
starting
in.
outside the hospital and coming in. So, but everybody, all the personnel at the hospital did great, and I think that our firefighters were just, in both city and county. I mean, the county firefighters were just amazing. Yeah, they just did a great job. I'm just really proud of everything that they did. And I think the timing is kind of interesting because it was just about almost to the date a year ago that they had the fires in Ness County, and they weren't so lucky. So.
Well, I think we need to be really, really cautious. Today I was on Vine Street and they were putting up a new sign on Starbucks on top of the pole. And they were welding on that as it was down. And just like that, the brown grass below it just lit up. It was just really quick, really quick.
right.
And people just really need to be cautious in everything they
Do we
do.
have a burn ban in the city limits?
The county does the burn ban.
And it covers us,
Yes.
because it's city limits.
Mhm. And the county enacted a burn ban, I believe, 2 weeks ago.
What is the penalty?
I couldn't tell you. I can
See,
find
and
out.
I think that's interesting, because every time I see the burn ban, it says in unincorporated areas of Ellis County. So I think
That's
we
true.
probably
She
need to
said that.
double check.
Well, I think we have a permanent prohibition on certain types of burning. You have to get a permit to burn, but I think we typically follow along. I'll clarify and send an email out.
Okay, great. Well, with that, I think we're adjourned. And God bless the city of Hayes.